Hello everyone. Today we are going to see the third chapter of History of Class 10, Nationalism in India. This chapter is very important for us as it shows us how the Indians have tried to bring independence in our country. In this chapter we are going to read the events that took place after 1920, the impact of the First World War on Indian economy, the Khilafat movement, the non-cooperation movement, and we are also going to see the differing strands among the different kinds of people in India. We are also going to see the Salt Satyagraha that was started in 1930s by Mahatma Gandhi. Then we are going to see the limits of the civil disobedience movement, the movement that broke out among the peasants and the farmers, merchants and tribals, etc. And at last we are going to see a sense of belongingness among the Indians that led to the unity of our country. Let us see the first topic, that is the impact of the First World War and the Khilafat movement.
Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel, and I am Ashim Das and I'll be teaching you Nationalism in India, that is the third chapter of class 10 history. And today we are going to see the importance of the word nationalism. So what is nationalism? Nationalism is actually the feeling that we have towards our country, and we have a sense of belongingness. And in this chapter we are going to see the events that happened after 1920, because whatever events had happened before 1920 you have already got in class 8. So let us proceed. Now, modern nationalism in Europe came to be associated with the formation of the nation states. Now, modern nationalism in the sense that like earlier people were under kings, and that is why they could not do any kind of independent thinking or anything like that. So now the nation states, the concept of nation states came into being. These nation states actually meant that they feel that they are a part of that particular nation. It also meant a change in people's understanding of who they were and what defined their identity and sense of belonging. Like earlier, if we were under a king, then we would only be the subjects of that king. So we are not the citizens of the country. But now we are Indians and we are a part of a nation state. So that feeling, that belongingness, that identity, these all comes under the idea of a nation state. So as new nation states started to come up in the 18th and the 19th centuries, so at that time new symbols and icons, songs, ideas forged new links and redefined the boundaries of the different communities. So the French community, the German community, and these all started with the French Revolution, and slowly it spread to other parts of the world. And in India also the people began to associate themselves with these particular ideas of new symbols and songs, and all this redefined their own identity. So the question comes like, how did this consciousness emerge in India also? Now let us see how our country was already a country which was under the British, isn't it? So our country had been ruled by the East India Company for a long time, and this consciousness developed in India because they were fed up of the rules and regulations by the British. Now let's see, in India, like in Vietnam and other colonies, the growth of the modern nationalism is intimately connected to the anti-colonial movement. So whoever were living in India, they were all like a part of the colony, and the colony's main rulers were the British. So they were against the British. So it was an anti-colonial movement. People began discovering their unity in the process of their struggle with colonialism. And this sense of being oppressed under the colonialism provided a shared bond that tied many different groups together. So even though the people were all divided on the basis of the language and on the basis of the different culture and linguistic differences, but still they were all thinking that if we are together, then only we can fight against the British. So each group felt that we have a shared bond, like to come up together as Indians. But there were also problems, because each group or ideas of different classes, they did not match with each other, and they felt the effects of colonialism differently. Okay, and their experiences were also varied, so their experiences were not same. Like the problems faced by a farmer were not the same faced by a merchant, and their notion here means idea, the notion of freedom were also not the same. Like the Congress under Mahatma Gandhi tried to forge or bring the people together, groups together under one or within one movement. But this unity did not happen easily and did not merge without conflict. So here we come to know about the problems that came up while bringing the people of India together, because they were also divided by class and by different groups. So I believe all of you have understood all this. Now let us see what we learned earlier. Like in the earlier textbook, we also read about the growth of nationalism, isn't it, after the first decade of the 20th century. And we also knew that in this chapter we'll see the problems that came up after 1920s, and we'll also study the non-cooperation movement and the civil disobedience movement mainly. We'll explore the Congress, how they tried to develop the national movement, and how the different social groups participated in the movement, and how nationalism captured the minds of the people, and how the people of the country, that is India, began to feel themselves as a part of the big country now that. So thank you.